On the 30th of May, 1966, from Cape Kennedy, or what is now known as Cape Canaveral, Florida, the United States launched the Surveyor 1 probe. The probe would land on the moon June 2nd and record data on the lunar surface required for the manned Apollo missions beginning 3 years later. It seems fitting then that on the same day of launch, May 30th, in the United States, the most astronomical and crazy rock song ever recorded at that time was released, and it wasn't even an A-side single. It was by the Beatles, of course, but it was only a B-side. The song was a reverse to Paperback Writer, Rain. Recording of Rain was done on April 14, 1966, along with Paperback Writer, and overdubs and mixing were done on the 16th. Similar to Strawberry Fields Forever, a year later, the song was originally recorded at a faster tempo and then slowed down. But unlike Strawberry Fields, this wasn't to compensate for tempo discrepancies and the combination of 2 takes of the song. According to engineer Jeff Emmerich, the Beatles played the rhythm track really fast so that when the tape was played back at normal speed, everything would be so much slower, changing the texture. If we'd recorded it at normal speed and then had to slow the tape down whenever we wanted to hear a playback, it would have been much more work. Although the final key of the song is G major, the original key and tempo is not stated anywhere, like it is with Strawberry Fields, although it was likely either G sharp or A major. John Lennon's vocals were the opposite of the backing track. They were first sung slower and then sped up. This made his vocals sound higher in pitch. The song Rain opens with a drum fill on the snare. The instruments then come in, with a very groovy bass line played by Paul, a backing guitar by John, and George playing a lead guitar with the 1964 Gibson SG. And you can really hear that humbucked SG sound. It's overdriven with a lot of crunch, giving it this wonderful texture. Ringo plays another fill before the first verse, one of the many drum fills featured in this song. I'll go over more about the drums later, but for now try to hear the pitch-shifted Lennon vocals, specifically when he says, "When it rains and shines" at 2 minutes and 6 seconds in. It was probably originally sung in F sharp or F. It sounds a little funky, and something is definitely artificial with it, but I never noticed before now when specifically looking for any signs that the tape was sped up. The Beatles songs with warped, weird, and falsetto John vocals are some of my favorites. They sound very dreamy and comforting in a way. While the main vocals stay panned to the left channel for the whole song, at 33 seconds in, you can hear some vocal harmony overdubs in the right channel. When the sun shines, it's slipping down the shade, the sunshine sound. One of the best parts of this song is the chorus, and the clear McCartney vocal overdubs is a big reason why. While Lennon sings the beginning of the word rain, in the chorus, he sings a D, while Paul sings a G. As the word has continued to be sung, they both do a trill or something almost Eastern sounding with their voices. It's pretty cool. The "I don't mind" is such a big part of the greatness of this song too. It just sounds so mystical and trippy. By now, it might be easy to hear where the group Oasis got half of their song ideas from, and I like their music, I'm not hating either. Lately, did you ever feel the pain in the morning rain as it soaks you to you can wait for a lifetime to spend your days in the sunshine. How does it feel when you're inside me? Hey you, wearing the crown, making your shine. The whole song is very druggy, and the ending is literally a result of just that. It features Lennon singing the refrains of the song, but played backwards. One of the earliest known instances of backmasking in pop music, perhaps the first. As Lennon explains, "I got home from the studio and I was stoned out of my mind on marijuana, and as I usually do, I listened to what I'd recorded that day. Somehow I got it on backwards and I sat there, transfixed, with the earphones on, with a big hash joint. I ran in the next day and said, I know what to do with it. I know. Listen to this." So I made them all play it backwards.
The fade is me singing backwards with the guitars going backwards. Share this now, if it's near, I can sing it now.
That's great.
Right? So, yeah, that was the start. That was a gift of God, that one, of Jah.
Jah.
You know, he's the god of marijuana now, right? So Jah gave me that one.
Both George Harrison and Jeff Emerick confirmed John's depiction of events. However, their producer, George Martin, took his own credit for the invention. "I was always playing around with tapes and I thought it might be fun to do something extra with John's voice. So I lifted a bit of his main vocal off the 4-track, put it on another spool, turned it around, and then slid it back and forth until it fitted. John was out at the time, but when he came back, he was amazed." Regardless of who created the backward sample, the song gains a totally new aspect from it, their experimental recording and weird studio techniques in the year 1966, when pop music was still mostly benign artistically. As the song was recorded shortly after the Revolver sessions started, the psychedelic sound that would soon encompass nearly all the Beatles music was new on Rain. It is truly one of the first psychedelic rock songs. One of the best parts of Rain is the drumming. The song is full of fills during the verses, all of which are intricate and sound awesome in a contemporary pop song. Ringo Starr explains his fills and how the drums are technically backwards for him.
Okay, I used to get put down in the press a lot for my silly fills, as we like to call them. And that mainly came about because I'm a left-handed, right-handed drummer. That means I'm left-handed, but the kit's set up for a right-handed drummer. So if I come off the hi-hat and the snare, if I'm doing something like this, any ordinary drummer would come off with the right hand, so he'd go. See, I can't do it to this day. So if I want to come off, I have to come off with the left hand, which means I have to miss a minuscule of a beat somewhere, so I go. Back into it. So that's how that came about, because I just can't play right-handed. Like, I can go around the kit from the floor tom to the top toms, which are on the bass drum, easy. But I can't go the other way because the left hand has to keep coming in underneath the right one. So it would sound something like this. Which is very awkward for me because it's like crossing your hands playing the piano or something. I don't know, but I have to fetch the left stick under the right stick to get to the right tom-tom, if you can figure this out, folks, before I then hit with the right hand. So then my style turned into the so-called funny fills, because it would be... I hope that's a major demonstration of my drum work.
Here's the beginning fill for comparison. Ringo also considers it his favorite drum performance on a Beatles song. In 1984, he said, "I think it's the best out of all the records I've ever made. Rain blows me away. It's out in left field. I know me and I know my playing. And then there's Rain." Also adding in a Paul McCartney biography book, "I think I just played amazing. I was into the snare and the hi-hat. I think it was the first time I used this trick of starting a break by hitting the hi-hat first instead of going directly to a drum off the hi-hat. The drums really make this song for me. They're wild. You can hear them so locked in and going crazy on them. At least, crazy for a Beatles song. I think Rain is up there with the best Beatles songs, and it is typically regarded by fans as the group's best B-side for a reason. But with the experimental recording techniques, one of Ringo's best drum performances, Paul's groovy and inventive bass line, Lennon's high-pitched, nasally, dreamy vocals, and George's fuzzed-out, loud, brooding Gibson SG, I think it actually may be one of the greatest pop recordings ever. The song has been covered live by Pearl Jam. The group Ecstasy played it in Liverpool the night after Lennon was killed. Apparently the Grateful Dead has played it a bunch, and the shoegaze group Chapter House covered it on an EP. All according to Wikipedia's notes on cover versions. The Allman Brothers Band have also covered it live, and the group Bongwater sort of covered it for the final track on their debut album, Double Bummer, in 1988, which I think I'll leave you with here.
go to the information station right away.